killing at least 4. Oppressive heat. How much longer will triple-digit temperatures bake Central Texas?
This heat wave is not going anywhere. We're going to be in triple digits for a long time to come.
Damaging rains. Water washed out roads and triggered mudslides across North Carolina.
We had 10.5 inches in one night.
Low lake levels. A once popular hotspot for boaters is now drying up.
We're in a very vulnerable situation.
And cricket invasion. Swarms of unwanted bugs are taking over Nevada communities.
There's really nothing we can do other than suffer and wait.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Dave Lucas. At least 4 are dead after a tornado hit the small Texas town of Matador Wednesday night. That's about halfway between Amarillo and Abilene. Images from the scene show near complete devastation. Many buildings leveled, trucks overturned, treetops sheared off. One of the victims was reportedly inside a Dollar General store when the storm flattened it. A tweet from Lubbock Fire and Rescue called the tornado unprecedented, adding there are 10 total injuries. This line of storms that spawned the twister also reportedly dropped softball-sized hail in another town. Nearly 230,000 homes and businesses in Texas are without power this morning. Unfortunately, those storms did little to stop the oppressive heat that is also gripping Texas. Maybe the only bright spot is today and tomorrow, where the forecast highs are only, and I say only advisedly, 98 and 99 degrees. But then triple digits will return and stick around for a while. By the middle of next week, temperatures could hit 107 degrees. And here's what that does. Highway crews had to patch some lanes of a highway after the heat caused the roadbed to crack and buckle. This is Brazoria County, south of Houston. Triple-digit highs will continue for parts of the state today. Heat index values, those feel-like temperatures, could top 114 degrees in some places. It's not the heat, but heavy, relentless rain causing issues across western North Carolina. More than 10 inches fell in just one night. Now that region faces washed-out roads and mudslides. Taylor Thompson is near Asheville, North Carolina, with more.
A week that began with 10.5 inches of rain here in Polk County has left many roads and bridges in a state like this.
And we was expecting, from the first forecast, 6 to 10 inches of rain throughout the whole deal. Well, Monday night into Tuesday, we had 10.5 inches in one night.
That caused a lot of issues Tuesday, and there was no break on Wednesday.
So we had a lot of flooding yesterday, some smaller mudslides, some stuff like that, trees down. Today we've had a pretty substantial mudslide today, a lot of trees down today. So we're just kind of in the same boat we were yesterday, but a little bit better, but not quite as bad as yesterday.
They're hoping for a break from the rain, but so far that hasn't happened. And there's rain in the forecast for the rest of the week.
The consistent rain, the winds, bringing down the ground so saturated, it don't take nothing to bring trees down. So it's just kind of ongoing effect.
A tree damaged a home, multiple bridges and roads have collapsed, and they've had a significant mudslide. But Arledge says they're thankful.
No injuries, no anything like that, so we're very fortunate not to have any injuries through all this stuff we've already had. It just depends on how much more rain we do get is what we're going to look at.
And there's new information this morning as we track Tropical Storm Brett. The storm now packs top winds of 70 miles an hour. That's just short of hurricane strength. It's expected to bring those gales and heavy rains to St. Lucia, Martinique, and the other Leeward Islands today and tonight. There's no threat to the U.S. We are also tracking what is now labeled Tropical Depression 4. It's expected to strengthen into Tropical Storm Cindy in the next day or two. There have been several tornado outbreaks this past week, and storms continue to be a risk from the south to the northeast. Now, there's one type of cloud that resembles a funnel cloud or a tornado, but actually lacks the dangers. Columbus meteorologist Marshall McPeak explains.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Marshall McPeak. We've had a lot of severe storms recently, and there's been a few clouds that have been confusing for folks, and those are scud clouds. When your neighborhood sees a thunderstorm moving in, sometimes on the leading edge of that, you can get some unusual clouds forming. Basically, what's happening is you've got warm air at the surface, and of course, in the cloud, it's cooler. But as that air gets pulled in from down below up into the cloud, it cools as it does it. In the process, some of that air condenses and forms a cloud. Now, there's no rotation in that cloud, and it's often disconnected from the main cloud. That's one of the big giveaways that it's not a funnel cloud. It's sometimes just sort of hanging there under the actual big thunderstorm. But what you have there are scud clouds. And SCUD is just an acronym for Scattered Under Cumulus Deck. And those are clouds just hanging down under the main thunderstorm. They're harmless. They may, though, sometimes look like a funnel cloud. And if that's the case, then in some cases it can get reported incorrectly as a funnel. But not all of those are actually dangerous. So if you see scud clouds and there's no rotation, you probably still have a good thunderstorm, but it's not dangerous at that point.
Heat in Texas affecting lakes and waterways in the central part of the Lone Star State. Lake Travis and Austin particularly hard hit, seeing exceptionally low water levels. Monique Lopez reports it's not only having an effect on local economies and businesses, but the lake itself is at risk of disappearing.
Look at the tree lines. That's where it's whenever it's full. And so from there to there, that's how far we're down.
Austin Edwards owns Austin's boat tours on Lake Travis. He says Lake Travis today looks nothing like it once did a few years ago. But his business happens to be located on the south side of the lake, facing Stearns Island, one of the deepest parts of the lake.
We'll never lose water until Lake Travis is empty, completely empty.
Other businesses aren't so lucky.
There is problems with other companies and other marinas. They are having to be pushed out to the channel, so that is impacting their businesses as well.
While Lake Travis lake levels aren't at a historic low, the Central Texas Water Coalition says the inflows are.
We are dangerous. We're in a very vulnerable situation. What is historically lower are inflows. The amount of water coming into the lake is much lower than about 20% of what we received during the last drought of record, which was about the 2014.
The Central Texas Water Coalition says levels this dangerously low are scary, and solely depending on Mother Nature may not help the situation.
We should never need to plan for a hurricane or a flood to save us.
Portions of the nation passed a cold, wet winter, Utah being one of them. All the wet weather there allowed grass and brush to flourish. Now, warmer temperatures are drying out those grasses and becoming a real risk for wildfire. Lincoln Graves has more on what that state is doing and its residents as well to try and prepare.
At the Neffs Canyon trailhead, you'll find a common observation.
It's the greenest I've ever seen it.
Is this the latest that you've noticed it this green before?
Yes.
Really?
It starts to turn brown.
Northern Utah is green right now, thanks to a wet winter and a cool, wet spring. But changes are coming. As all the green dries out, thoughts of wildfire creep in.
Have you thought about wildfire danger in that regard when it starts to get dry?
Yes, and I pray that people put their fires out so that we don't have wildfires as bad as we've had in the past.
So we're seeing a little bit below average fire activity from what we've seen in years past. But we are definitely drying out.
State officials know more summer-like conditions are on the way, which will dry out wildfire fuels.
What are you doing to prepare residents for this sort of next stage in wildfire season?
Well, we launched earlier this month our Fire Sense campaign. That's the third year that we've been doing it.
A public awareness campaign teaching people how to avoid human-caused fires. The state also does fuels reduction projects, but in limited locations. There's a lot of ground to cover. It's just not feasible to do most places, leaving Utahns to help prepare themselves.
We actually back up to a field and we have to do we have a brick fence to prevent wildfires because there's been wildfires behind our house before.
Head for it in the National Weather Desk. This is Lightning Safety Awareness Week, and we've got what you need to know on how to keep bolts at bay during a storm. And see where bears are creating a real stir. Crickets stirring up a ruckus as well.
A storm system in southern New England bring clouds, showers, thunderstorms, downpours to southern New England, New York, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, over towards Massachusetts and Rhode Island. It's going to have an impact on temperatures as well. Only in the 60s. Head up to Caribou. We're talking low to mid 80s for the day with lots of sunshine expected. This continues as some showers down to the south as we head through the nighttime tonight. Temperatures much warmer up to the north.
I'm meteorologist Jasmine Lomax with a look at the mid-Atlantic region. We are looking at rain and potential storms around the region as we head into the afternoon. And then overnight into Friday, we'll still be dealing with rain as a low-pressure system lifts to the north. There could be areas of heavy rain at times. The afternoon stays pretty mild with highs only in the 60s and the 70s. Temperatures will gradually fall overnight. We're looking at lows in the 60s and 70s as well.
I'm meteorologist Vitas Reed. Here's a look at your southeast forecast highs for the day. A little bit mild up in Nashville at 75, as well as Raleigh 77. Looking at some showers and thunderstorms expected in these areas. Atlanta 74 degrees, still an area of low pressure there. To the south and west, we have a little more clearing towards the Mississippi Delta. Down in Florida, upper 80s, low 90s, a hot one there. You can see this area of low pressure that's been spinning over parts of Atlanta. That's going to continue to track a lot of showers up I-95. A few afternoon showers and storms in Florida.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Summer's first day meant stormy times for parts of the eastern and southern U.S., including Berkeley County, South Carolina, where this system also spawned a funnel cloud. And here's how summer looks at Paradise Inn at Mount Rainier National Park. The inn is located roughly 5,400 feet above sea level. The National Park Service says snow can stick around between 5,000 and 8,000 feet until the middle of July.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
This is Lightning Safety Awareness Week. Since the beginning of this campaign back in 2001, lightning fatalities in the U.S. have dropped from about 55 a year now down to fewer than 30. Recently, Angela Brown heard from an expert that even if the strike doesn't kill, it can have an effect on the rest of your life.
During our awareness campaign, we want to make people more aware of those dangers of lightning so that they act safely when thunderstorms are in the area.
What happens to your body if it's struck by lightning?
Well, first of all, the greatest concern is that it might stop your heart. So if somebody is struck, the most important thing is to check to see if they're breathing and to see that their heart is beating. It leaves people with burns, which are pretty superficial. It's really the damage to the nervous system and perhaps lack of oxygen if the heart is stopped that causes the most damage. People can have severe headaches for the remainder of their lives. They can have neurological damage.
When are you most at risk?
June, July, and August are the months that see the most lightning fatalities, with July being the peak in lightning fatalities. It's also the peak in lightning activity across the United States and the peak in many people's summertime activities. In terms of time of the day, it's when thunderstorms develop. So oftentimes that's in the afternoon.
Can you separate the myths from the facts when it comes to getting struck by lightning?
Well, probably the most common myth is that people believe that metal attracts lightning. Metal does not attract lightning. Lightning tends to strike the tallest object in the immediate area. Another myth is that people think rubber tires will protect you from lightning. Mm-hmm. Lightning goes through thousands of feet of dry air. And that amount of rubber on your tires does nothing to prevent a lightning fatality. However, I should point out that cars are safe. as long as you're fully inside the car, because if the car is struck, and many cars are struck during the year, that energy from the lightning will pass around the car, the metal shell of the car, and into the ground, and the occupants inside will be safe.
We know about lightning here. Is there lightning on other planets? Check out this eerie image of Jupiter captured by a NASA spacecraft. Look closely and notice that green, ghostly light coming from an area near the planet's North Pole. Scientists believe it's a lightning strike. But unlike what we get here on Earth, where lightning comes from water clouds, Jupiter's strikes most likely come from clouds that are a mixture of ammonia and water. Now, in addition to being lightning aware, we want to remind you it's also time to be bear aware. Summer is when both people and bears are active and often in the same places. Rex Hodge in Asheville, North Carolina, where wildlife officials are reminding about the dangers.
It's the critical early feeding time for bears, and it coincides with increased summer visitation to places like the Blue Ridge Parkway. From mid-May to early June, the parkway has seen 3 bear encounters on the Bull Mountain Trail near Asheville.
Out of a whole lot of abundance of caution, we, took the proactive step of kind of closing, a half-mile section of the Mountain Sea Trail, really just to kind of keep the bears and the visitors safe.
The closure in effect till June 30th. The road in that area remains open. Parkway biologist Tom Davis reminds visitors to be aware of their surroundings, and if they come across a bear, to slowly back away. If necessary, appear big and yell. The parkway has a leash law, too.
Visitors are required by law to keep their dogs on a leash and of no more than 6 feet in length.
When camping,
they're required to store their food and their cooking gear, their coolers, anything with an odor, in the trunk of their car or one of the bear food storage boxes that we provide in the campgrounds.
Wildlife biologist Fallon Owens lists 6 steps to follow for safety.
Never feed or approach a bear. Secure food, recycling, and trash. Remove bird feeders whenever bears are active, which is right now. Never leave pet food outside. Clean and store your grills after you use them. Let neighbors know if you see bear activity.
Highlands Mayor Patrick Taylor says his town is first in the state, certified as a bear-wise community, educating residents and visitors about bear safety and rules in place for residents and businesses to put garbage in bear-resistant roll cart containers.
It has made a difference in the number of bear interactions that we've encountered. We think it's good for the community, and we also think it's good for the bear.
From North Carolina to northern Nevada, not bears causing a problem there, crickets, specifically what are known as Mormon crickets. While they're not a threat to humans directly, their large numbers are causing real issues. Taylor Burke has what residents there caught in the cricket invasion are facing.
Gross. They're gross.
The video you see here was taken by Mackenzie Gonzalez.
And they are absolutely disgusting.
She tells me how the swarms of Mormon crickets have invaded her town and her life.
You're opening your cupboards, you're finding them in food. They also are cannibals. So once you kill one, then all the other ones just flood over there and come eat that one.
Gonzalez tells me that it's an environmental issue to exterminate these insects. So she and her family are forced to live among them.
You have to drive, you have to walk places. So you're just crunch, 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 stomping, driving all over them.
As a driver for the gold mines, Gonzalez doesn't get a break at work. With thousands to millions of them covering the roadways, they become a real hazard. Their dead bodies make for slick roadways. And there's something else.
Once they're dead and they're on the roads, you can smell it probably for about a mile.
And it's not just the residents. The problem has become so severe the state is getting involved. Meg Raganese with NDOT explains to me that the department is sending out crews to use snowplows to remove these crickets from the roads.
These Mormon cricket infestations are an important reminder that we never know exactly what to expect from nature. So as drivers, we need to kind of expect the unexpected on our roadways, whether that is rain, snow, wind, even in this case, Mormon crickets.
Mormon crickets are known to stick around for weeks at a time, leaving Gonzalez with her hands tied.
There's really nothing we can do other than suffer and wait.
In Florida, it's a whole different kind of invasion there. There's a quarantine in place to combat giant African land snails. These mollusks can chew their way through stucco, plastic recycling bins, signs, and more. Wildlife officials have mapped out an area in the Myanmar region, which is about 20 miles north of Miami. There, they're setting out baits after the snails were detected, and they say not only are the snails one of the most damaging in the world, but they also can pose a health threat to humans. They carry a parasite that can cause meningitis. In California, hundreds of marine mammals have been sickened or killed by toxic algae blooms. Experts say the harmful algae is growing at a rapid rate. Seabirds and marine mammals, things like sea lions and dolphins, will eat the toxin when they eat the affected prey. They're warning beachgoers stay clear of stranded animals and to keep pets away from them as well. We'll take a quick break. First, let's take a trip down the Ohio River.
Well, a very good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buck-Michael. This rain across the Dakotas, Nebraska, staying there today, but it is going to slowly start moving more to the east this weekend. We still have some rain in Kentucky and Ohio as we get into the day tomorrow. Pretty much the same story for us, that rain in the plains slowly moving its way east as we head into your weekend. And again, temperatures staying warm out ahead of that. Got a lot of 90s across the plains.
Good Thursday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Chris Suchan. Our forecast today across the region, and looking for a little bit of a cool down with 80s and 90s. Not as many of those widespread 100-degree readings across the region. A little bit of a severe risk. West Texas up into the Panhandle and western Oklahoma. A few storms along the Gulf Coast. And then Friday, looking at a lot of hot sunshine, but in most cases, 90s instead of hitting 100 plus. Even a few spots around the 80s with just a spotty storm or shower.
Well, hi there, everybody, and good Thursday morning to you. It's the first full day of summer today, and the summer sunshine is making a nice bounce back, especially in the PNW, with 87 expected in the Rose City of Portland, Oregon today. Upper 90s out of Las Vegas and 96 today in Albuquerque. Current weather maker, this system continuing to dive across the midsection of the country might trigger a few thunderstorms again today in the Rockies, especially outside of Denver. And that's the scene from here.
Watching the National Weather Desk.
It's officially summer, and most of us are feeling the heat. If you're up early, though, in the morning, you might notice things seem a little cooler. Most assume that's the coldest time of day. Not always the case, though. Meteorologist Natalie Waters recently posted about cold mornings on her TikTok account.
Why is the morning typically the coldest time of the day? Well, a simple answer is that during the day, the sun is heating the Earth's surface and it gets warmer. Once the sun sets, we stop receiving that radiation, and all of that radiation that's at the Earth's surface then starts to escape up into space. So the coldest time of the day is going to be right after sunrise, once all of that heat has escaped before the sun starts heating the surface again.
And look for us on all your favorite social media platforms. Just search @NatWXDesk or the National Weather Desk, and we'll be right back. Thanks for watching. Tomorrow on the National Weather Desk, we'll explore how the winter weather is still affecting Alabama's peach crop. I'm Dave Lucas. Make it a great Thursday, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.